There was profound sadness throughout the land when Sarah Harding of Girls Aloud's voice stilled for the last time. She was just 39 when she died from breast cancer. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So it's not just because we are doing our duty to do everything we can to draw attention to this killer which has visited so many women, so many homes, but because our guest is a profoundly inspiring one. Rebecca Hartley, herself a survivor of breast cancer, does a tremendous amount of work around the country drawing attention to that illness. She and her fellow ambassadors have never been more necessary because in the COVID era, so many other illnesses have had to be placed on one side, and one of those is cancer. Early diagnosis being absolutely vital in cancer. It's crucial that we are all looking out for the first signs of this curse. And Rebecca Hartley, I'm glad to say, joins us now. Rebecca, thank you for that. Tell us what happened to you. How are you here? And why did you decide not just to forget about the whole thing once you yourself had beaten it?
Hi, George. Well, yeah, as you say, I have had breast cancer myself. I was only 37 when I was diagnosed, so not much younger than Sarah Harding was when she recently lost her life. So certainly nobody expected me to get breast cancer. I wasn't high risk at that point. I went through my own kind of treatment plan, which anyone who's been through that will tell you is pretty grueling, from chemotherapy to double mastectomies and multiple other treatments and operations. But I'm one of the lucky ones. And I remember a point after my treatment had finished where my partner said to me, it's done now, you can forget about it, you can move on with your life. And it kind of annoyed me a little bit because I thought, why would I have gone through something like this to come out the other end and not do something positive out the back of it?
Whilst you could have turned the page, got on with the rest of your life, you've actually dedicated your life now to trying to avoid other people having to go through what you did.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm an ambassador for a charity called Prevent Breast Cancer. They're a little bit different to some other cancer charities in that their mission is to create a world free from cancer, free from breast cancer. And they're all around preventing, predicting, and protecting people. So a lot of work in research, but also a lot of work, as you said earlier, George, in education. So making sure that people are checking themselves. 1 in 9 women now within their lifetime will get breast cancer, and 1 in 1,000 men, in fact. So that early detection is really important, whether that's making sure you check yourself or taking the right steps if you do find something to make sure that you get that treatment early.
So you check yourself, you find something you're not happy with. What do you do then?
The first thing you do is go and see your doctor. The processes in place to deal with cancer are so quick and so rapid now. You'll be seen within 7 days. They have a really quick, I think it's a 2-week turnaround at the very most, where they'll get you checked out. And in the majority of cases, especially when it comes to breast cancer, it isn't anything serious, so you have that peace of mind.
So the COVID delays in diagnosis, in treatment and so on, you're saying those delays haven't really affected the breast cancer field?
Yeah, I can only speak from my own knowledge through the charity and my own experience, actually, of having lost a couple of family members last year to cancer on top of my own experience. But certainly, the NHS take it very seriously. Cancer treatment is something they're very committed to, and there is a fast-track plan for anybody who finds a lump. They'll be seen rapidly.
So the ambassadorial work that who are your fellow ambassadors, and what would your normal weekly or monthly pattern of activities look like?
Yeah, so for Prevent, there's a mixture of people involved with the charity, from your normal everyday people, previous breast cancer survivors like myself, or just people who want to be involved. There's also some celebrity ambassadors. So Sally Deniver, who's Sally from Coronation Street, she's involved with the charity, as is Victoria Econoy, who was previous Coronation Street actress. And we all help in the ways that we can most help. You know, I have a business, Saving Grace Events, so I use my expertise around events to help the charity with fundraising and awareness events. But then also doing things like this, just spreading the word, talking about our own experiences, raising awareness.
So have you got a website? Do you fundraise? What do you do?
Yeah, so the website is preventbreastcancer.org.uk. So anybody can go to the website and have a look on there. There's some fantastic advice on how to check yourself, because believe it or not, there's a method to it. And there's lots of advice there on how you can get involved, how you can support the charity, how you can get involved in the multiple fundraising events that they have, and do your bit for a great cause.
Give us an idea of the scale of this scourge. You read all the time about people passing with breast cancer, losing women members of their family with breast cancer. It seems to someone like me a really big issue.
It's a huge issue. Cancer in general is a huge issue. So obviously with breast cancer, we're only talking about a small amount, but you know, the age that people are expected to get it used to be kind of middle-aged to older women. Now it's affecting women in their 30s and their late 20s. 55,000 people a year will get it. That's 150 people a day, and 12,000 people a year will unfortunately die from it. So, you know, the figures are significant.
So about a quarter of the people who get it die from it.
Yeah, and that is all around, George, early detection. And that's why it's so important for people just to be breast aware. Because, you know, if you're going to get, when I had breast cancer, I said, if you're going to get a cancer, breast cancer is the one to get, because the treatment rates and the success of that treatment is phenomenal versus other cancers. So it really is just important to find it and to be aware and to get that early detection in there so that you can be treated effectively.
I appreciate you're not a clinician, but have you any idea why women are getting this younger than they formerly did?
Do you know, George, I have no idea, and I wouldn't want to answer that because, as you say, I'm just
wondering if it's, you know, lifestyle related or what that could be. So 55,000 women a year, that's more than 1,000 a week in Britain alone are getting this. That makes it one of the worst killers, notwithstanding the point you make about the success of treatment. A 25% mortality rate is pretty high to me.
Yeah, and you know, there's a lot written about lifestyle factors and what you can do to protect you. And I think, you know, if you can be healthy, if you can eat the right things, if you can not drink too much, you know, all of those things are going to go a long way, full stop, in life, never mind when it comes to cancer. But equally, people succumb to this who are very healthy, and in some ways it's indiscriminate.
Yeah, I mean, the women footballers, women athletes, actresses, Sarah Harding. It's affected all kinds of people from all kinds of walks of life. But I'm hazarding a guess here, the people least likely to check themselves are young women who are in the first bloom of life and, I don't know, feel invincible. Maybe you felt like that at 37.
Absolutely. I mean, I did not check myself. It wasn't even on my radar. I accidentally found the lump as I sat up in bed a couple of times. I felt a pulling. When I went to the doctors, they didn't think it was anything serious, but they said, let's just send you anyway. The consultant I saw said, we don't think this is anything. My lump actually wasn't typical of a breast cancer lump either. And the whole clinic were quite shocked when I got that positive result. So I think you're absolutely right. You know, when you're younger, you think you're invincible anyway. And certainly it was not on my radar. And I don't know any of my other friends at that point who would have been regularly checking themselves or expecting that something like that could happen to them, which makes it much more likely that, you know, it will get to a stage where it's not treatable.
Yeah, I mean, that's our message in this interview, isn't it? Check yourself. If you are not yourself a woman, encourage the women in your life, in your household, to check themselves. I'm slightly surprised that there isn't even more. There is a fair amount, but even more, if you like, public information about this. I mean, if you think of the scale of public information over COVID, for example, you know, signs by the motorway, by the 100, constant television, radio, newspaper coverage, especially this month in Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We really need to step up, if you like, the propaganda about this. We shouldn't stop until every woman is regularly checking themselves for breast cancer.
Absolutely, and you know, Prevent do a lot of work in that space. And there are communities where talking about breast cancer, talking about checking your breasts, talking about cancer in general is kind of taboo, and women aren't encouraged to talk about that kind of thing. So definitely in some of the kind of ethnic minorities, I know Prevent do a lot of work in that space, and that's why, you know, it's important for people like me to be here talking about that as well. But I think you're absolutely right, George. The key is to get people talking about it, to get people to understand why it's important, to make it not taboo and just to make it part of our conversations. And that will literally save lives.
Well, Rebecca, you've done it admirably today, and you're now a celebrity. You're now a star of stage, television, and screen. The best of luck. Remind us again of the website and how people can help.
It's preventbreastcancer.org.uk, and you can help by firstly being breast aware, make sure you check yourself and see what you can get involved with. You know, Prevent are a charity. They rely upon fundraising to do the great work that they do. So if you log onto the website, there's so many ways you can get involved.
Rebecca Hartley, thanks for joining us on board the Sputnik.
You're welcome. Thanks, George.